language there. Where's all the elders that are supposed to be here? There's only one guy here, the same age or older than I am. That's Kogamlaka. This office has been going the wrong way for the last few years. Be better off to shut it down. Where's the old people to talk about governance that know the Gyeets laws? Where are they? Like I said, there's only 3 Christian Gyeets. Where'd the 4th one come from? I stayed away from here for years. I've never gotten anything for nothing. I've worked for everything I've got. And I see that map I've got. Somebody else is signing for logging that has no right signing. Newcomers don't have a right to sign for logging. In '54, there's only 2 Laskeet in Kilmagach, David Wells and George Moore. Then David Wells adopted Kidlope, Joe Daniels' wife, Emily. Kidlope come from Gardner Canal. Laskeet come from Clemtu, Bella Bella, Vancouver Island. They're patrilineal, they're not matrilineal. I worked with a lot of them when I was down south. That's why I'm asking, why do we have 4 Christian Gyeets now when there used to be only 3? And the 4th Christ seem to have taken this office over, which I don't think is right if they're newcomers. Thank you.
Just wanted to close for him. Respectfully request your participation in an all chiefs meeting. We respectfully and humbly request that Gyeets governance be looked at with all of our chiefs in an all clans meeting, a first meeting devoted to the GTS and the Gyeets negotiators, explaining to all of the Simgiget what this Gyeets governance is for our wing chiefs and our house members, so we all understand what it'll look like at the end of the negotiations and the implementation process, so we can get our questions fully answered, and then ask for a second meeting with all the Simgiget, that the federal and provincial negotiators would explain their positions and what they hope to achieve, and answering the questions of the Simgiget. And a third meeting devoted to just the Simgigets to talk among themselves and their wing chiefs and their wilt members on what they want. And finally, a 4th meeting devoted to the Simgiget further discussing these matters with the GTS and the Gyeets negotiators. This process affects all of us. And on Nigadane territory here, we haven't been involved, and we'd like to be involved. The model that we're representing and proposing here is a fair and it's just to be informed and to go through a process that respects our Adao and our Ayo. And so we hope that each chief will think of their wilt members and their wing chiefs as we go through this important step, and to meet together in a manner that reflects our feast halls. Hamea. Thank you.
Any more?
No, that was it.
Okay, we're seeing addition to the agenda. Not, we need somebody to approve the minutes, I mean, the, agenda.
I'll approve it.
Moved by Linda, seconded by, Amanda. Been moved and seconded, I don't see any objections, carried. Administrative matters.
Thank you.
I guess that's the AFP, yeah? Where it's written.
Days.
Number 2, administrative matters.
Oh, prior minutes. To be.
Minutes.
Or to be minutes, yeah. So what we,
You were saying you were here at the last meeting. Were you here at the March 18th meeting?
Was that after the meeting in Kitchen Calum?
no, that's a different one.
Yeah, but I was here at that meeting after Kitchen.
Yes, yes. No, let me say stuff. Everybody read the minutes short. Any corrections, deletions?
I don't see my name on the March 18th.
Me, I don't see my name.
You've never missed one yet.
I was here.
Because I keep track of them, usually. When was the last meeting?
You made notes of them, Mark?
Manny.com. The last meeting,
Oh, yeah.
right? He was here.
Excuse me, yeah, he was here.
Oh, excuse me.
Anything else on minutes? Corrections, deletions? If not, somebody adopt the minutes with the correction. Being Larry Marston added on in attendance of March 18th. Moved by Lawrence Watson. Seconded. Second by Anita. It's been moved and seconded. Moved and seconded. Moved and seconded. Passed by consensus. I don't see any objections. Any business arising from the minutes?
We were wondering if our comments will be put in the minutes?
Pardon me?
Will our comments be put in the minutes for this meeting?
Go get it.
The letter that you presented should be given to the secretary. Because you guys spoke before we adopted the minutes, so.
It's in there.
It's in there?
It's in there.
Okay.
It's there. You have the letter.
The other matter that involved with the law on house territories, I'd like to give her a reply there. I mean, it's put on the table, and you guys seem to be ignoring it. And that's not right. We're gonna be self-government, do it.
Any more business arising from the minutes?
I still maintain my objections to recordings during this meeting, because it's not really part of how we do things. If we're supposed to be sending yes in the table. It's like what Ray said last time, it's, any social media. Can you take that away? I'd rather not you have pointing that thing at me.
It's not on you.
Because, we have our own way of doing things. And it's like what Ray said last time, is that, some of this might get out to the provincial and federal governments. And I'd rather not see that. Everything that's discussed should be just handwritten down, recorded and such. Whoever decided.
He doesn't want to be on the video, so just exclude him when he's talking.
Maybe consider themselves at board level.
Just don't put that down.
Yeah, it's not included in the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, there's a concern. Any more objections to the media?
Might be a free word, but to me, when you put something out on the media, it's gotta be all inclusive. If this is the table, if you have some person objects, fine, you can't do it. It's gotta be all inclusive or forget it. That's the way I see it. Okay, you have to be as close as the whole is doing, say go, or some inclusive. Some of them may be pre to preliminary for it to be released.
Mr. Chair, I think it's okay to have cameras. With people not agreeing with this governance, they have to see and know what's taking place on this table, right? That's just my thought.
The presentation before we open the meeting was address that they want to be inclusive, and because this was on the table when we first started, and how do we address that problem? A lot of people out there say we didn't know about it. I don't know. It's up to you guys, majority rules, but from what I understand, the presentation before the meeting, it spoke on the that they want to be included in what's going on, and they don't really know what's going on. Good.
Just wanted to speak to that is we would hope that we would follow our IOP and our ADAP, where it would be in public, where wing chiefs or WILT members would be here to witness in confidentiality, quietly, just as we did in our feast halls.
Yep.
And know our role and responsibilities and to respect our laws. So that's sort of how we had hoped and why we came here, and respectfully witness the governance as it's happening. We were always a part of it before colonization, part of the planning and decision making as witnesses in our feast hall, and it was in that manner more so than the Umpsiwa way of getting the information to us. We had hoped it would be in a manner that would respect our way of making decisions and planning. Thank you.
Any more comments?
And there's a lot of us here that don't have fishing ground.
Sweetie. Excuse me. I'm here Zip when Lady Bishop but just Gyeets and Gigeni. But down South Dakota, Gyeets and Gigeni is on, and Gyeets doesn't get any. They don't have any time to say anything because Gigeni always near Auschwitz. So it's good how the meetings are going. It's not that we're divided. It's just a time to move on, not to argue in a meeting. And also the reason maybe why the elders aren't here, if I don't know what they consider elders, if it's just only aides or elders that are groomed since they were born. They're groomed by the house, and they have to have an understanding of our culture, and they don't just blare out whatever negative feelings they have. They're the ones who sit back and then they assess what's going on and then offer a solution, not just problem finders. And that's how I see it. The Gyeets governance are, we have time to assess our problems and and solve it, not just tear one person down. That's my thinking.
Singiget sigamhana kabawisis that nadi aliyafat and he talked on is the misma course has Rennie is well with Lapski the hit yukna nahlit if at the mohit way
in Meshawin Namgad Dawgarat Amgadi Nahat Amgadi Yet if this when it any talk from and to laugh they will let that go hilt lach yip lach ski and Stan Dachat I go dem hogger recept Quebec dem sit is lagets awesome I go on we net I go hen when you 63 Supreme Court I witnessed it is net a mom's it net girl it's in it the hit and then first time the dip nach nit is Laura ans me besseren dem some Laura ans nein I rayo het ko kommen nachen skidum side a little of dear it contradicted hen skidum the park lip a year up the nit Nedin ullah kulle sagan some nedin ullah
Sagay de hugam liux ayok get san. Nem die 12. Het kanet hoog ayok de Seats gewoon met etkom. Nes je wil anu nog liu. Nes anu de god. Net kanet. Sagay de hugam ayok get san. As kwal gadit get san. والقلال بتاعك كتسان نتيلغني أنا أقول لك ماسي وتيلغني سقوم الهايس وتنيت لا ماس سقوم الهايس لا ماسيس يبنقص قللا استيلاي نادي قد ساكنام تودلاي يبتسابي الويل بيغسنت يبتلقوي إن جابس ويل فانكوفر Nedi sa het oni dem slumaga ligna ligda lotem liluxi. Net het der agade. Snek skat lix la hep nedi skat lilux. Net khanay. Ulam golal le ptek skitsan. Net dit la slemos it no. 1909 will get snow. 1866 will get stadigal and the Gyeets. In the life was nacht kan the watched. Net nee, wel hij was de deze. Waar de mannen som dat la sabaks de deze som lui. Min in hessen. Wel hij naan som as nog som. Dogens van som as nog som.
I lach skiks nachai
Wel hij is dogens van som as dus.
I lach skiks nachai
Wel hij is.
waar I hogger I cement len am gulle el papi der gulle trad eno en gon I nee qaad gitun qaq
Dit lo bar hes manes. Kitsan kaliak stit nagut. Net la slemos it no was ayok kitsan kaliaks kalikshan. Net khanuit wat ashan.
Yes, I'm active chair. Trouwens, begon dus de schoolij bij BM's, ik heb de ooit geleid om auditorium. Ruby was niet easy. Dat is heel goed verzet, gewoon daar is een doorn. Nachts nog, wat is Ruby? Die tijd nou genut, koosdagens niet. En die dagens iets west. Die maat je lukt al raden. Kanedas Gitniao. It kinandit Maggie in this Lachsik in Rach. The Hiet Lachsik in Rachi Orsi. Nas Yadit Sipkut. The will toast is will it kinandit. Unless I'm not semestic up to kind of water. You could the sheep. 1918 going around west Gyeets Maggie. Eddie will jucht aardstit no skidit jucht aardstit no. Is daar zo kan ook daar jucht aardstit no. Så nok is lalig zoals ook tot een polo in de dag. Dus belachelijk of zelfs zit, want daar is weer gaan zeggen, die duidelijke history. Dat je er weer voor, dus een line-up voor het pit, bij zo'n jobgebied. Dus jongens is preserved, omdat je lang zo aan heeft, die water tussen lang zo aan heeft, en de vlog wordt hem tested, dat geeft tast. Dus je wordt dan veel simpel. Nee, die speelt in al wat van de week, die sarcade, wanneer ze nog steeds in de dag dit om check, dan kwam dit een job. En je gaat het water tussen lang zo aan dit, net dit mes dit, gewoon het water. Dus dat wil je codex, dat geeft tast. Dus je hebt ook lesau op deze mooie maas, je hebt het lesau. In de laagste dood het uitgesmolten tons. Het oog, dat bij een niet ja, kook zo'n waarde. De laai moet gemaan een begom. De gemaan een bek schieten jou. De gemaan een bek van het oosten met zon. En zo het moet bek van zo dit. Dat kon ik ook staan. History. In jou. Was ook op een laag en op het uitwijs dat Fred Gott en dat Peter Williams die oud. Mestig van co-ops. Van Sabektit. Co-op als Rupert. Van daar is geschoven van dat, zo'n mogelijk, de schat zo'n meel zoals audit. En zodat ik in jou, je zag dit en tekst dit, en daar ook toast, is wonderlijk net dit geloksgebied, en daar ook dit, nog maar een bek. Net ik zeg nooit zo wel in de gemaan. Ze wees wel niet heet nog maar een bek op in de gemaan een bek zoals hoe naar des. Ik zeg net dan thuis gaan we rond te laten. Ze wees als ze gaan dan naar geen ja is het gaat dit nog Canada. Tenminste maar jeugd kinderen uitgekomen. Lag skiegt, zag ik net om Samaas om dit niet. Zou het om niet zo mooi zijn mes nog om de. Ik zeg net, zoals een ook zo'n radio en loop ik naast buiten nog maar aan, loop ik in de die ons uitgeschikt zijn.
And he said when I was 12 years old when Saddam am school or Hazelton amalgamated. So then you like exactly what age hjem et og Wilpskogsen win sa wit og genamat sa angsla hetem dem og mestet at I hetem net set of emt, and that must have been 9 or 10. Helt sa dachot Jeffy Miss Wilpti Kitchigukla so Local Miss concepted law, but I still kind of go message. Can message long when Nettie laugh Korenek if Kitchigukla Indian Day School. I'm a least fliggy Willamette of Cooks Hoden did no crimson. In a renewed message to Mary, Gitahe Korenetti, named Meta when King Calleth will us out. De Gyeets nacht want niks nee naar een wiel zak Kitchigukla net die zak dem amts elm boot wil naar een wiel Kitchigukla at that time genam dit dem en wendel go out in it had it lauded net die go en lisket out of den galal so was Ameriket was in Kitchigukla am gadi ohs et ofte labait algechem bij seizoen om ofte labait algechem naar net die uit of mesje adauer iets huis niet echt zo Kitchigukla niet am gadi in helt wilai wil go held dem exit net die windseboot dem nelle safe, but I know all what's involved. Niet te zeggen maar line dat wil mis wil ze weer met nu lo dag wel de songs adauer genam dit kabit in taer si Kitchigukla en kan ik gewoon zelf dag dit no le point no maat net in Losebo no mam zeg mam and mama nor right paradilde it semestit Bruce and ni nagan wil sag carnaby when die win and doing jeftit sa 6 in die carnaby is mama no oft bigi labai test Bruce nagan wil go en crossing when die jeftit dem die endoind in net die en Cooksen lot it belonged to Bruce Howard. She go this week out and talk with Cooksen new win at it, but that garden belonged to Bruce Howard. Need a Cooksen going. Habit.
Okay, really good enough. You go through this minutes now. She's for passing, isn't it? Okay. Social media, hier op de cel, ik heb het al. Nee, maar het schiet ook met zijn hoofd toen we leuk. Ze daar was eigen. Dat lijkt me niet na. Heel spannend verstaan in social media and it's both sides are right.
I think Gordon told them not to film anybody who doesn't want to be on it. Gordon, did you tell them? Yeah.
Yeah, do not.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
not to film people
Yeah,
who
Dale
don't want to
didn't
be
want
on
it.
there.
Del
Could be
didn't.
edited, eh? just suggestions about social media should be put in writing and we could discuss it again. I know it's pretty sensitive, getting to be pretty sensitive. How do we get our pitch out there, I guess?
Message. Maybe, maybe if we go around the table, who doesn't mind the cameras? I don't mind the cameras because our people out there are always requesting that we're more informative and transparent and all the rest, and this is one way of doing it, so.
Because we had just to follow up with what my sister said, we had cable vision in Guinea 20 years ago now, I think. We have our own community channel, and it advertises everything that's going to happen in the community. I always hear one singer they call Super Granny. First thing she does is look at the community channel first thing in the morning to see what's going on and to be involved in it. So most of the elders back then really enjoyed the community channel. I know we have our own Ayok, our own Adawak, and how we deliver messages to the people back then. Times are changing and it's starting to conflict with our Ayok and our Adawak. How do you come up with an idea?
We have quarterly newsletters that would go to the community, and for each newsletter, there should be a topic.
Yeah, these guys did the newsletter, first newsletter already. They call it called the message.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, newsletter.
So it should contain a topic.
Yeah.
You know, that people need to know about it, whether it's the GTO governance.
So that was what you would use on the message. So let everybody know the dates of the meetings and everything. That's what kind of message was.
Yeah,
Tell you
that's-
what's happening.
It was part of it.
Mm.
Sindiget siguro manak kanits kabawalsas smagat kongalagons we jabulps koksan kasam smagat aos stands on this side kongalagons on this side sta awulps koksan. First time I sagalim ayos with the sumwagi simedigs taking me along with him to this meeting. First time I've been in this meeting ever since I've held that name, Kungalagons. Goody West Nahi, Grace Kungalagons. Before her was my yet Ben Woods. A lot of you on this end know Ben Woods. He lived on this side. Ben Woods lived on this side and held the name Kungalagons. Which is somewhere. Kungalagons. And I'm in my mid-50s, and a lot of this that happens inside these closed doors, I don't know about. Information that are put on paper. I have no idea, as part of Cooksen's WILP member, I don't know what happens on our territories. Eli said we don't have fishing grounds. That's wrong. We all have fishing grounds. What is put on these papers is knowledge. And when you have knowledge, you have strength. One of the oldest guys here in Gitmax, I believe he's 110 now, I forget his name, he's still alive. Yeah, what was his name again?
NB.
Yeah.
The guy.
Yeah, he was one that I heard it from. Without knowledge, you have no strength. And this is my first time here. And we need to, like Sherry said, we need to include our house members. And rather than keep it, I didn't know about this until my Weximedics invited me. I would have never known about this as a Samagat and a hereditary chief in the Kiskas of Kitsigutla. We need to know about these things. And what Rennie had showed was a map of his territory, I believe it is. I won't get into that detail. But that is, when you have stuff like that on paper, that's knowledge, that's power. When you have it on paper, on map. We all have territories to extend. We are to look after our house members with that territory and look after our lahyip, our land. It's not mine. It's not Cooksen's, it's not ours. It belongs to us, all of us. And Wilp's Cooksen doesn't belong to one person. How big that territory is, I'm yet to find out. And I will find out how big that territory is. A lot of things have happened in Cooksen's house that I'm unaware of because I wasn't informed. But I'd like the people that are in these closed doors to know that, who I am. Smagat Kungaladans. That's who I am. A chief in Cooksen's house. Big responsibility when I took my mom's name. Just in my mom's house, we have a few hundred people that we have to look after. And I 100% support Sherry on her idea, because that's going to include all of us, all the house members. We all have fishing grounds. We all have territories. When you say you don't have a fishing ground, then you don't have knowledge. We have to get included with our Simdigets and our Samagits to find out where our fishing grounds are. Chaos has a fishing ground. The late David Milton, we grew up there. I grew up there, about 1.5 kilometers east side of Kitsigutla. I grew up on that fishing ground. And then Ben Woods had the fishing ground where I'm at right now. Ben Woods had that fishing ground. That's the fishing ground that I look after right now. Not my fish, it's ours. I look after my family members on this fishing ground as we're supposed to. as hereditary chiefs, look after our members, not mine. It's ours. I thank you for allowing me to stand there, Mr. Chair, and introduce myself. The people on this end, they need to know Kungalagons. When I come into the Liligan, nobody knows Kungalagons. So I thank my big wek Simidix for inviting me to come with him, so people know who Kungalagons is. The late Ben Woods' name. Ay sinisip sindigat sigil mana kapit.
Okay. Crisis team management update, March 29th. Norman, you could start.
Okay.
I started my, well, not questions, but presentation to the government by telling them that I was charged with selling, trying to sell fish. And since then, a lot of our people were charged. Our people, I told them, our people were oppressed. There's no economic basis for our people, and we live on marginalized reserves. DFO operates on policies, and policies are not law, but that's the way the government works. They work around policies. The only time they ever go to the law is when somebody brings a charge against them. DFO says, oh yeah, and another thing about their laws is that when they use policies, there's a lot of room in these policies that allows for the government to accommodate what their friends want, and they do that. They also say, DFO says that their laws reflect the court cases, and one of those court cases is Sparrow. But there's another court case that allows us to sell fish, and that is Gladstone. And I told them this case is not reflected on their laws, because if it was reflected, then we'd be allowed to sell fish because we're First Nations. Yeah, we're not allowed to sell fish. I told them big corporations are calling the shots for in government, and that means they do it through lobbying. The white people are really smart. They go into government, and they have lobbying groups there, and then that's how they get through these policies. That's how they get what they want. And one of these people is Patterson. The answer to that was they were glad that we're talking about the Gyeets culture. He said that we're stewards of the land, and I countered that we're not stewards of the land, we're owners of the land, I told him. He said the fish numbers were down, of which we all know is true. And the impacts to our land tenure is something that has to be addressed. And this is from DFO. And they're not dodging our issues. We have to find out what the gaps are, he said. Find ways to implement the fish plan our fish plan. They mentioned terms of reference, and they want to do the right thing. And the BC government, they have common concerns, just like DFO. There was a woman here, I forgot her name. She did a lot of talking as well. UNDRIP was mentioned, and free, prior, and informed consent. One of the things that both governments said was that they're sitting at this table and we're talking about jurisdiction. And jurisdiction, they said, is a land claims issue, and they don't have a mandate to address this, which they are right. They're not. They say they're not a treaty. They're not with the treaty process. Therefore, they can't address our. It's like talking about title. So they're quite positive about this whole thing. And but that's about. Oh yeah, there was mention that Patterson is on the ocean. He's just taken everything up, and he's hoarding. He's hoarding everything. He's freezing everything. He's canning everything, and then he's waiting for a time when the prices go down, and then he's going to flood the market, and then he's going to get billions of dollars. So I told him, you know, the First Nations, thank you so much. The First Nations are having are really poor on the reserve, and yet the white people, the big business, are just really hoarding everything. They're getting rich, and the First Nations are getting poor.
Robin?
The problem with the fish right now, I don't know whether you guys go up to check Babine Lake. A lot of the problems is DWWA, Gyeets Watershed. They close the gates. Fish hit the gates 100 miles an hour. They knocked out, float to the shore.
Hey, Renee, can I finish off my thing here? It's part of what you're saying. This is.
But well, let me finish, because Great Taylor and Patterson take a sailboat in after they close the gates. They first sail in Babine Lake. The Babine people don't say nothing because they work for Patterson and Great Taylor. I've been up there and I've seen them.
Yep, good point. My hair is fixed today.
So June 15th. Wear purple.
I like what Clyde said before I make my presentation here. I would like to say that I share all of what we were in this office to my house members. Everything that I do here, my wing chief, and we also have our own meetings. And so far, so good. I see a good outcome of this. I believe that's very positive. I do share everything with my house members. They know what's going on when what we're doing here. And they never objected to anything so far. So I keep them all informed. My mom, especially. Okay, the DFO and Patty Hirschfield, when they came here that meeting, is that true. I told him the true facts about our ways of life and fishing. I was one of the first to speak out. I had to leave at 10 o'clock that morning, but this is what I said to DFO and Patty. When fishing first opens as a Gyeets nation, we usually share a feast of our catch amongst families, friends. We were never told or were allowed to, or how to fish, how long the net is, how deep our net is, how long we're allowed to stay out on the waters, on our fishing grounds, and we were never told how much we were supposed to take, because we were taught to take what we need and give to others that didn't have enough. We also had our smokehouses along the way, along with our fishing sites. Smoked our fish right there. After the highway and CNR came through, it became harder to access our fishing sites. Lots of the fishing holes were also destroyed. We as First Nations relied on our fish, our way of life, our food chain, our identity of who we are. We have our history, songs, stories about fish, dance. The songs go back, way back, hundreds of years. This is what I'm telling the DFO and Patty. We also learn from our laws not to play with our own fish. Why? You'll get punished. And there's still strict stories today that say that, to respect our fish, wildlife, land. It all connects to who we are. And the highways that we see today is not, it wasn't a government's highway, it was our trails. We walked that, used the horses to get around, canoes. We never had to answer to anybody how to live or get from A to B. Who developed these lands before the white man came? Who looked after these waters and fish? Who looked after the wildlife? Who looked after the land and fish, wildlife? They are one with us. This identifies who we are again. From first day of memorial up to these modern days of age, we are still looking after it all. Our laws still exist. It still works, and we still abide by it. The white men also need to respect our laws and ways. We as First Nation for years have abided by white man laws. Now it's time that the government listens to our laws and abide by it. We are also taught as young men, children, not to talk back to our elders, especially when they talk about our laws, not to trespass on other chiefs' territory or fishing holes. Out of respect, if we needed to go on another chief's territory or fish site, we'd have to ask for permission. This still exists today. And we were talking about communication, about how to get communication out. And my suggestion was the government needs to help us identify who we are as First Nations, respect our wishes, just how we govern our Anap. It also applies who we are again, our crest, our stories, our blankets, our land says it all. Why do they call us First Nations? We're here first. If you disrespect our lands, our fishing holes, our laws, you're disrespecting our way of life. This is what I told DFO, Patty Hirsch. I thought that they really needed to know this, our way of living. To be.
Okay, gosh, some allichty there. I'm so hard one. Ik zou ze meneer Marra deze gehad. Nagnees hem, ik zou moest genees hem, lagijks. Kan ik zijn. Recreation fishing. Ieder meld dat het July komt op zo'n province het ligt Aliax federal het ligt Ocean. Ieder meld laat het om de beschadak Aliax. Nee, dat die kans getekend is no. Ulai discuss hon sasaga in is sigurd mas Aliax en Adam. Zeg wil die dat beschadak Aliax. Je kan wel recht. Is dat niet zo met hem zijn sigurd hon als een arts. Nee, dat ik als gedaan zoals aan de politie euro. In die in Moosem met hond de pigsteed. In die de park leks en uit. Jannie pek soort recreation fishing. Wat is ze daar guide de bekstied. Ik heb soorten als trespass. Trespass daar als een aarde. Kan dat niet zo. Je net op de nacht en mijn oost dit hond. Vis goed. Kort dit hond niet. Ik zeg ooit zit. Daar wordt kijk ze nacht dit. Niet geschaad goed. In de bolijn klaar dit. Kees, welai, man, trouwens altijd die, met midden dit getrokken, dit is seks, dit, nee, dit naast en psychiat dit. Sabot, Gazel, dus province, en psychiat, dus recreation fishermen. Nog die een subsidie is labacht het jaar toen net zo toch het lang zwaar als Aliax zit die lab die gebeurt hon ze kent dit echt het is een weg trok dit verhoud dit gebeurt hon de seks dit jocht hem wat dit kan nooit dit in is nee dit echt dit hem toch geschikt dit. Ik ga jocht op zich geschikt goed laten en gaan. Nog eens de zeggen we heel veel simpel. Wat is province lag even lag zelfs ex. Je echt je willen we zijn het. Ja nee de passie. Lag hier kiegels op zwaar zijn uit. Ik zeg er wel dit allemaal. Toen gekocht dit lopen en dan jocht hem de praat honger zijn uit. Niet een goede lijn om laat dit. De psie is geschikt was. Toen de woord dit lag hier lag zelfs en uit. Skin speelt dit nog. Gebeuren nee want gebeuren toch en uit is dat het na. Je schiet speelt dit nog kocht met de woord dit lag hier soort het veel simpel. First time in get heen zal zag niks hier kisbeoksi. Zag dit hem gaat dit hongas en uit dit met de wacht dit. Ieder praksejoch. Tim staan lachen die de tsajoch lag hier. Belly eigenlijk spachtig zwaai. Toch het gebalo. Je kost hem nog hier bij dit niet. Zwaai met dit uit en uit hem gauw. Jocht hem de hond op dit. Nee, die dag met hem zo'n de joch lag hier bij dit en zo uit was. Dan kon gochen is op zijn neem ze zijn moeite mee dit. Het is hem liever houden, niet hem schoon ja. Wordt het veel simpel. Is met hem laat dit. Goed was. Een logistiek. Zie goed. Killer daar, die zeggen hem dat aan jabet. Dan gaan aan de mol. Schip eigenlijk een geleden. Net op alle zich Marondes, wole met lachanaat kan ik zijn. Schadagam met recreation fishermen, je kunnen lachach, dus dat niet om na een toch gewoon het deeltjes om een skisem kunnen ze soms zo weer maken. Nee, dat ik als gedacht is dat niet om zeg op zwaar en op schadagam. In het Melters province kan federal net op die dachten adem gaat lekker en uit. Die nacht het hem de bachelor guiden outfit zullen zwaar dit hem echt het als een adem naar die enorm chipt het. So bottom line is our Ayok versus their Ayok. So it's a battle, and it's an uphill battle for us, I guess, to try and implement our own Ayok. Ayok. Gerade zei dit zich te melden geschaald, lacht het nou met die schil. Dat gaat laat om de serieus en nice om dit. So we need to keep pushing along, and we told them you guys should go to a higher up and make a report. Shouldn't stop at you guys' level. Go to the higher up and make a report. So, waarom de district is geschaald achom. Om goeie wil zit, als je achom, hog je moeilijk. Dus moeilijk is gedaan zitten geleden. Je kan zegt om seniors, ergens zijn. Leelt om Department of Fisheries and Oceans om ook zijn die het laat. Je hebt niet om de gaat om zijn. Dan klimaat het nou. Dan mag die zijn die het ergens zijn. Ieder zeg nog nemen jocht zak Patterson dem set up as cannery bij Wien. In dit nog liceu. Ik heb geschiet nog nemen nog de jocht zijn dit bij Wien. In dit liceu is geschiet gewoon. En while dit sports dit spawning ground bij Wien. Ik heb geschiet om daar is Patterson's cannery lot. Je krijgt die niet om dat gaat hoe zou het dan klimaat het nou area tost. Nee, lijkt me dat op die dag om te begrijpen dit. Dus op een jaar je zag hem de protect. En we kunnen klimaat komen, we zouden we kunnen klimaat komen dus zum zijn. on each side to meet a kid. Discuss no will magon de say pagdil in subscribe and sweet upon.
Simge get. Bad. Oh, let's go Wilson. Means dat dit is waar. Wordt het genoeg. Wordt naar dat en daar geschaast. Am het zich uitgezien. Louis Hun. Alle aks. Ja, het wordt niet hun. Maar je mag. Wordt het gedeeld. Zo'n aard goed nee. Het gedacht niet noem. In daar maar wel niet. Wat ze maar am zo warm gaan laten. Jul. Dem geniet dat de genadem hey. For 2 years now we got shut down fishing here in the lower Skeena. You know, and we were told by GWA, go ahead, go fish. My friend and I, we're fishing for the elders, for a lot of people. The DFO came in, RCMP came in, took his net, cut his net all up. Me, I just moved up to our territory. They didn't know where that was. I was fishing there. But you know, we dug into it. We let it go. Jack got fined $2,500. And nobody helped him to pay for that fine. He still hasn't paid for it. They're going to come and get him pretty soon, I think. But anyways, you know, we dug into it. We're wondering why we're getting shut down in the lower Skeena. So we took off up to Babine. He said, we're about, oh, sorry, I forgot your name again. We're okay, sorry. We went up there, and I was really surprised to see what I seen. Our own GWA, this is after that our head man of GWA passed away. But we went up there, and GWA had their own, they bought a nice big boat, a seiner, and they were up there seining while we were shut down here. I took pictures. I got pictures on my phone you can look at. I took them all. And what, I don't want to name names. I learned that from being on the board before. But I took pictures of them. They were seining all the sockeye out before they even spawned. And they were taking the roe out of the sockeye and throwing the sockeye away into the lake. I said, you should be giving that to the elders. And they won't. They were, for the roe, they were selling it to the Chinamen.
Caviar.
And then the next year we got shut down again. And there they were. You were right about Jim Patterson. I got pictures of 3 seine boats Jim Patterson bought for those Babine Indians. They're not all bad people, but there's people that turn a blind eye and let them do this to the spawning beds. Look at last year, we had lots of fish, lots of fish. We went up there after we finished fishing and the spawning beds were empty again. You know, all them sockeye, they seined them all out. Truckloads of big totes going out. And they were going to Vancouver, and 5 big truckloads carrying 55,000 sockeyes went to Boston. I have friends up Babine that worked for them, and they told us where it went. So what I want you guys to do, I'm glad you guys closed the river down for these Amshua. You got to put your foot down, because my friend and I, we're right on the river. We see what they're doing. I'm sure there's a few of you here that see what they're doing. I had my boat, my dad's boat that I got chained up down here. Amshua, I caught him on a camera on a tree. You know, he cut the cable off my boat, put big rocks in it and pushed it out. Twice they did that. I took it to the cops. I took it to GWA. They didn't do nothing. His net's been cut. But we brought out the cameras, cell phone. I didn't realize what you can do with the cell phone. We go check our net twice a day. We caught him right on my net. Took pictures. These guide and outfitters that are making lots of money. They didn't even see us. We were standing there taking pictures and they were cutting the fish out of my net. So what you guys got to look into is what's happening on Babine Lake with Jim Patterson. These guys, I'll show you pictures. These guys he bought them 3 seiners. And when I went to one meeting, they wouldn't let us in. They kicked us out of the meeting because they didn't want any Gyeets in there to know what's going on. What they're going to do now is they're going to put those fish farms on the lake, they said. And it's just going to get out of hand until, like, all the some you get down the Skeena River should speak up. There's not too many people that will do that. But I'll show you some pictures here about the seiners. Look at this one here, Lake Babine Fishery. Just one seine with these 3 boats, 53,000 sockeye. One seine. They were doing it all last summer. Look at that, 3 boats. Look at that, all on the Babine Lake. Yeah? We caught them on there. And it's still going on. And they wonder why they're shutting us down here. They're sending it all out. Our own GWA. Look at that big boat parked next door to me, up my house here. That's a big boat there. GWA. And you know, when we start speaking up, you know what happens to us. So I commend you guys for standing up and shutting it down. You know, you gotta fight for our salmon. I'm hessim sim giget. Ugly Lewisum. I'm a yarny lawson.
Sim giget Manak. And then the last year's arts Vernon and I, late 50s, early 60s. Anchors, mothership, Japanese, Triple Island. And all their little boats come inside. Smith Island, fishing. Everybody called the fisheries. They didn't go out or nothing. I don't know whether Vernon was fishing then or not in the late 50s, early 60s. But that's when that mothership was anchored at Triple Island. And their little boats come right inside to Chatham Sound, Island Point, Smith Island, and all that. Everybody phoned about the mothership being anchored there. Fisheries didn't do a damn thing. Just let it go. All this happened because of the fisheries. I can remember when Harold Sinclair and Peter Williams were still alive and the Native Brotherhood was strong. That's long before UFAWU started. Fisheries Union started. And that's the time George Jeffreys were walking around with the young kid trying to take Native Brotherhood plates off the boats. He come to my boat when I was working on my boat there, and he was going to take the Native Brotherhood plate off. I said, you touch that, I'll throw you overboard. He went to grab it, and I moved. George Jeffreys says, you better leave that alone. He'll throw you overboard. The little white guy left it alone. But things have sure changed since the Native Brotherhood disappeared. A lot of you guys are probably too young to remember that. And Harold Sinclair and Peter Williams were running the Native Brotherhood. It was really strong then. Things have sure changed because they're the ones that used to push the fishing part of things. They at one time said Gyeets boundaries run to Island Point. The reason they said that is that's how far the fresh water goes out, coming out of the Skeena. Nobody said anything then. All that them sons never said boo then. But there's a lot of things that happened earlier. The fisheries don't say nothing about it. But it's our own people running the DWWA that are screwing things up. They don't say nothing. They probably get a little money when these people go in there and do what they want. And they don't say nothing. But like I say, there's too much under the table BS that's going on with the DWWA. They don't let anybody know anything. And that's the problem. They've got this old guy, white guy, that's supposed to be a biologist. I started asking him questions half the time, he couldn't answer me. Because that's what my son is a biologist. He talks to me all the time. I started asking this DWWA's biologist a few questions he couldn't answer. It's just like that pipeline they've got. All will be electronically monitored. One thing they forget, all the electronic components are man-made. They're not infallible. Like Zico Krasinski asked me, what do you know about electronics? I said, I took electronics. That was the field I worked in. But there's a lot of things that could go on under the table with CWWA as far as the fisheries is concerned. That's got to be addressed by the people. They have nobody to answer to. They go ahead and do what they want. It's about time they had their suspenders pulled up a bit. Thank you.
Any more comments?
Simdiget, Sigamanak, just spoke with Betty and kind of introduced myself again and to get involved with this process that you guys are doing. Asked the chair to, I guess it's permission to get a seat in this office. I was telling her it wasn't about, you know, the finances or anything. It was about getting involved and knowing what was happening. And she said it was up to the Simdi Gyeets here in order to get a seat. And that's what I wanted to bring to the table before you guys were done. Kabi, thank you.
I
move we accept the crisis management reports.
Okay, it's been moved that we accept the crisis management report by Ray Jones, seconded by Calvin Items. It's been moved and seconded. Been moved and seconded. Moved and seconded. I don't hear any questions, so it's passed by consensus.
I just had a question on the report, if I could. What was the purpose of the meeting? I know the report mentioned a lot of comments, but I didn't quite get out the purpose of that meeting and what they were reporting back to us on the questions. So was there a specific question asked, and then those were the, if we could get the question asked, maybe then it would put your report into context?
We're closing down the Skeena. That's what it's about, and its jurisdiction.
And then you met with the province and the
government,
feds?
yeah, DFO and the province.
And we were, and then so when you met with them and said that we wanted to close it, their response was because of jurisdiction So they gave you answers under jurisdiction, governance, and stewardship? Is that how they responded?
That's what they said, but we're closing it down anyway. That's what we're
So it was
doing.
more just to advise them that we're closing it
We're
down?
advising them,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
If they come in, they're trespassing.
Get your marshmallows ready.
And it means everyone, not just the people around this table. It means the whole LEX should be going out there
Well,
and, you know, informing the trespassers, you didn't get permission to be here. Right?
It was something that I think a lot of people here would have liked more of a.
The crisis is there's fish are depleting.
Yeah, but to have more people aware of the process, I think that part of getting them involved would be good. Reporting out to. Thank you.
Amita. Okay, Tribunal Ad Hoc Committee, are we setting that up, boss?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We want to set up the tribunal. There's two ways to do it. One is through the federal, provincial, they pass legislation. And the other one is the Gyeets Ayok. So you're the government now. You're in charge of the river. So what the tribunal looks at is fairness. And if the government's concerned about access, to your enact, is that unfair to the Amshua that has the fishing permit? So that would be the question. Is a no trespass. If they accept no trespass, Rennie, I'm talking. I know you are, but I want to answer some of those things you're talking about. Just let me finish and then you can ask all the questions you want. So the idea is trespass. And this thing would look at that, the tribunal. We know what trespass is. When I go to your left hip, you're an act. I provide you with the value of what I think my trespass is worth. See, the onus is on me. So we use the Ayok here. So what's the value to that permit holder? What's the value to him to fish? Some places they pay $50, some places they pay $100. Fish River, I think, is $100 a day. And they even run down to the ban office trying to get a permit. So that's what he will say. What is the value? Now, the other thing about fairness, we have access to our enact. The first thing that stops you is the reserve. Kissagas Reserve prevents Olier's family from fishing. But they're not a member of Gitmax Dam. The next one is fee simple. Farms. People living close to the river, they don't let you go by. And the other one is the rights of way. The river. Cycle the clock, you gotta move your fishing site across, and the river went by. So, fairness. The tribunal will look at the fairness. What is fair? So you take a look at this. DWA and DFO, they determine allocation. You look at allocation. How many fish should each fisherman get for the summer? And then what you look at the Pacific Salmon Commission, this quota. How many fish should be allowed to recreational fishermen, commercial fishermen, and all that stuff. But you never think of this. Like some of us think we don't have an app because we've never been there for years. 1, reserve. 2, farms. 3, railway, highway. So what's fair about today? What's fair about the allocation? It's not fair. And that's what this tribunal will look at. Fairness. So we're going to push by meeting with DFO and with the province. We're going to push with them, but we want to establish a tribunal. We will look at this thing, the allocation. We will look at how we are prevented from our fishing sites right now. And then we'll look at the permits. The permits and the fish. The guiding license. The fish guides. Nina and I were on the river a couple years ago. We chased these white guys off the river. Nina's tougher than me, so I was just a spectator. Two chicken shit to take them on. Anyway, this guy said he's been there. How come I can't go on this river? I'm Canadian. He says, I got a fish guiding license. And 5 years ago, I became a citizen of Canada. So he has a right to go through the whole Skeena River. But the Gyeets, we can't go. We can only go to our own fishing site. So that's not fair either. So you start piling it up. We cannot go to someone else's fishing site. But if you got a permit or a license, you can do that. So that's not fair. And that's what the tribunal will be looking at. So once we get the tenure recognized, pushing for that, pushing our jurisdiction on the river. Okay? It's endless what we can do. We look at the reserve, we look at the fee simple, CN, these guys are the richest. And they go up and down the river. Every 2 hours you hear their trains going by this way, that way, this way, that way. We don't do anything. We are the toughest people in the world when it comes to Facebook. We're talking to our buddies. How tough we are. But these guys all use our fishing site. You heard some comment from Walt. I think we all know what it is we have to do. The first thing that the people have to do is support you as soon as you get. We can't fight, we can't burn the candle at two ends. Fight for the government and then our own people. Yeah, all the time. All right. Also right. As soon as you get, you're our last hope. Each of you. You're our last hope. And this year is the only chance we have where the government is open for you as the government. This is the only year. And if we don't do it this year, we're all stuck on the reserve. We'll spend the rest of our life playing bingo. But you guys got it. Because they are gonna, they can't go around it. The law's on our side now. The people, the public, they're on our side in Canada. So we're gonna stop beating up on each other. Start supporting. As soon as the argument starts, you never hear more BS. We gotta start. First thing is always stick together. That's the only thing that's going to help us. And you guys are leading. When you get the other chiefs together, they're leading too. So you guys are on the right track. That's the first comment, good comment I ever heard from somebody from Walt. He told you guys you're on the right track. You'll probably take it back as soon as you get to his Facebook. So that's the first time, you know, that was pretty exciting. Anyway, so that's the idea of the tribunal. We put the tribunal there, it's to protect the enact. These are the things that prevent us from our fishing sites, plus allocation. That prevents us too. And then these guys here, they have free access. So from the Gate Creek, right up to the headwaters of the Skeena, no fishing permits. You guys gotta help the chiefs. Rennie's got to help the chiefs.
You're the one that's got to learn.
The tribunal up. I don't know if you want to form a committee to start that process, or we'll wait till see if Canada and BC wants to do it. So it's up to you guys. Thank you. I'll just be a few minutes. A couple of things Walter missed out on. May is the deadline for my big fine, so I'll
be going to jail in May, so you won't have to worry about me fishing this summer. But anyway, anyway, the first thing we have to do is really take a look at our fishery. That's the first thing this tribunal or you chiefs have to do, is look at our fishery. Because they're out of hand. They're selling out all our rights. And I can say that because when I got charged, and the reason I got charged was because of GWWA. They were scared to come down and stop me. So they got Department of Fisheries involved. And that's when I got charged by 6 fishery officers with a boat, 5 trucks, 5 cop cars, 6 cop cars, charged 1 Indian and 1 helper. $2,500 I gotta pay by May. Okay, the other thing why I say we gotta do something about that GWA, we gotta get control of them. They're selling out everything. We went to hereditary chiefs in Lake Babine, 142 of them. And we were helping 70 of them to try and make changes because they're mad about what's going on the lake. They're fishing, they're seine boat, 3 areas. Lake Babine, Tatchet, and Burns Lake Mason. I'll just give you an example of Tatchet. 7 truckloads left there last August. And meanwhile, we're supposed to be shut down here. 7 truckloads, 55,000 per load. Went to Kamloops, Vancouver, all Patterson, Boston, selling it. And they're fishing our spawning grounds. So just doing that to our spawning grounds, end of last year, this was 2 years ago when it was 55,000 per truckload, times 7 loads leaving Tatchet. Okay, now to show you what they're doing there, the seine boats by Patterson, and some of those chiefs that were against us, against the 70 chiefs that were trying to stop this, they were saying, so we asked them, well, they're employing our guys. So we asked them how many guys they employ. 28 of us, 28 guys from the reserve. Okay, how much they paying you? Minimum wage. 28 guys, minimum wage. So who's making all the money there? Patterson. You see, so how can he get a permit to do that on our spawning grounds? That's our fish. Not only Lake Babine, that belongs to everybody on Skeena River right to Rupert. So the other thing I wanted to point out is it's not only the fish that's you guys got to get on this tribunal. Oh, before I forget, we should try and get rid of GWA or put them in line. The second thing you should have on your tribunal is a few fishermen that know what they're doing. Like some of us, we've done a study. I did a study because I'm going to be paying $2,500 pretty quick here. But the other thing we should be looking at is our hunting also. And I'll give you an example. I was hunting in Babine, and I get permission from Francis Pierre to hunt on his territory. He has a big territory there. So just his territory alone, you know how limited entry, you get limited entry for this area, limited entry for this area, limited entry for this area. Okay, just on Francis Pierre's limited entry, they sell 165 permits for the white guys to hunt their moose. And that's for 2 weeks only. So we sat and talked to these guys. There was quite a few of them, about 50 of them. And they were mad they didn't get a moose in their there 2 weeks. So 165 2 weeks, and there's four sessions of 2 weeks times 165 hunters in that one area. So you can tell the poor white guys, they can't get no moose because they're road hunting. There's no way 165 cars going by every day in that one area. We came in there 7 o'clock, bang, we got 2 moose in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. We called them out of the bush, and they couldn't believe it. All these white guys were coming by watching us skin. But what I'm telling you is we not only got to really buckle down on our fish, because in the last 2 years they could see the fish dwindling in the Lake Babine. The spawning grounds were empty. Last August, September, the spawning grounds were empty because of those seine boats. So they're killing our fish. The other thing, I just showed you how they're killing our moose. A lot of our own people, our poor people that need that fish, need that moose, they don't have the vehicles. They don't have these ATVs. They don't have the transportation to go way over there and get a moose, because there's none here. Just for my own evidence, I hunted Kitchigukla logging roads. 1 set of tracks. So I went to the salmon, same thing, no moose whatsoever. We seen 2 moose at the end of the hunting season. They were both filled with ticks. Both filled with ticks, so they were gonna die any day now, so we can't waste a bullet on them. Poor buggers, they were suffering. So there's so many things in your tribunal that we're gonna have to start looking at. Not just the fishery, not just what's happening. The white man is taking all our food sources right now. And like I think Norman said it earlier, they're canning them and they're saving them. They're putting them away. That's what our poor people should be doing, but they can't get it. 3 young guys from Kispiox phoned me. Jack, we can't get no moose. There's no moose here. So Kispiox, salmon, and Kitchigukla, there's no moose. Just the last thing I'll say to you, if we shut down our territories, behind our roadblock in Susquehanna, just the year before we shut it down, I went up to 24 Mile, and here's 5 guys from Alberta with 7 bulls. 5 guys with 7 bulls, so they were poaching 2. So we shut that down, and we were starting to look like Kitchigukla, no moose. Since we shut it down, the moose population is coming back. So that's what I'd like to suggest, or just give you guys a hint. We have to start doing is shutting down our territories. And get people on there who know what's going on, who's doing the hunting. A lot of our people are starving, and that shouldn't be. We put a raffle on for smoked ribs. My sister sold out in 2 hours. Over $600 she made on that raffle because everybody was after that smoked ribs. So you can see how our young people are starving, and we have to help them. There's a lot of them starving. SA ain't enough, and no work. That's the other thing we got to look at. There's just so many things. But the main thing is our fishery. It's going to die if we let Patterson into Lake Babine, because he's planning fish farms. That's very dangerous. It's going to kill our livestock. Wipe it right out. That's what's going to happen. Just so he can make a few bucks. Thank you for listening.
Just for your information, there's a meeting in Burns Lake this Wednesday, 17th, about moose. I'll be there, and I'll talk the same way I talk about an ad. Big guiding outfits are coming in and wiping out our moose habitats. I'll speak against it when I get there. If you guys got nothing to do, go to Burns Lake this Wednesday.
If you're not in jail yet.
May. I'll be in jail, May.
Well, we'll see you when you come up. Don't pay your fine. Don't pay your fine.
Wanted to say something about the tribunal as a process, or as a planning and decision-making tool. I ask how it supports our IO of how we made decisions as chiefs and as all together, and would a tribunal represent that or undermine our IO by using a different system to gather and make decisions? It does fit into the Umsiwa way of constitutions and bylaws, but ultimately by choosing another system to make your decisions and plan, you're undermining your right to land title, because when you go to court, those decision-making processes in the feast hall in Delta are no longer the way that you make your decisions, so they no longer hold up in court for your land title. What if you as a chief want to go forward? We as Wilkes Digadane are moving forward on that, so we're very conscious of that, of the way that you make your decisions and plan can and will be used against you. So it's important that those systems that you're implementing don't undermine our system that we already have from the beginning of time, the feast system to make our decisions and govern our people, look after our lands and our people, the stewardship rights, the jurisdiction. If we can stand on those age-old systems that we used, that brought us all together, we won't be torn apart like we are in the current system that's being implemented. It's really important to us on Nigadane territory that the feast system isn't lost. And that's why we have been standing up and trying to uphold that feast system in these planning and decision-making processes in today's world. It can work. It's not so slow. It's not so labor-intensive. We proved it to the provincial government with the Ministry of Environment and CN Rail. I heard CN Rail mentioned here, and they've slowed down long enough to stop and talk to Wilkes Nigadane and Nisto. They've included us in the planning and decision-making. It's the first time ever. So there's opportunities if you stand strong with your processes. It was protected and upheld in Delgamuukw. If we follow them, it strengthens them. If we don't follow them, it undermines them, and they will not have any standing, any legal standing. We will undo our own history. We are undoing our own history. Thank you.
I guess most of the decisions that we make on the table reflects the feast hall, the Ayok feast hall. So we're reaching back into our own Ayok to bring it to the table. It's priority to all of us, I guess, that we don't lose our own Ayok. We try to implement it. It's up to the province and the feds to recognize us. That's the fate we have in our hands.
It's the, our planning, how we plan and come to decision making is really important.
Yeah.
How we come together as chiefs. We're all together in our feast hall, and that was how I was experienced the feast hall. I'm not used to it being separated or decisions made outside. It was something that all of us knew all together. So thank you.
Listen to Gordy talk about this what he put on the board there. Why does he want a tribunal to deal with that? Why can't the people that work in his office that are getting paid deal with that? They're sitting in his office getting paid with what he's written on that board there. Why can't they be involved with the people sitting on this table are involved with a lot of different things? And why can't the people in this office deal with that?
I guess we've been all working towards this. The Simi getting the past the point at GTS, and they said they keep telling the GTS office that they got no land. Nedi was a good lahib data, nedi lahibsum. So I guess that's why they're backing off.
See, the thing is, like, what I'm talking about, Vernon, like they say the permits and stuff like that. The government's doing it, so why can't this office do it?
Yeah, the instruction comes from the Simi get this what the office.
Like this table's got too much going.
Yeah.
These people get paid out of this office, why can't they do it? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, our instruction goes to him and he does it. Dus nou nog zien alles, hè?
Huh?
Get me a raise, too.
Well, you make enough money sitting on your ass.
Something to think about the tribunal. You guys wrestle with it in your minds when you get home and put it back on the table on the next meeting and see where we go from there. Any recommendations, bring it with you. Other matters, Wakala and Skakunaha, but I need a 5-minute break. Everybody, 5-minute break. Pete time.
Yeah, me too.
Were you not listening? You? What was it done?
Sorry, I'm just kidding. Look at us thinking. The corner of the question guys in the video.
Want to start recording? We don't. You want to time it? Break?
I want to hear what he. I hope you guys will bear with me. I'm not going to take another 2 hours. Where do you go? Negotiated name and these knots and the winds that we get killed. Look at this whoop. The whoop is called my eyes. Toen dacht ik te boeien. Ja, is these knots. Je gaat lomit table. Je reëelt knots lag hebben. There needs the budget li godum goplit it what it lot. Those who la mes kloi. Say men mes los. En Willem. En get up these knots. I did that to save them on the vessel. And those will at Hebrew. It Adam.
sen religienig urbekson tost na bach quinks to what tost gens som hagens mulp je le psiler die til psiler nats gens je prie til menachtig el riben het tost alger jol nee Deul hesket al neetig neen diet Peter Mac en zo brown law yours. How does the chin to submit him? Me get it you credit. Schiet leogus in it en eet him. Il op wensum gegedes les het wendit. De mit hoog schiet leogus zum nitten dit gelobert wundlige nee. Nagana nisum so geget wohl die schiet. Het is gewoon zo geren. Met net die lachim get ik ook. Als je daar lachim in dat die te lachen daar bij komt, die is ergert. Geen graden wil naar die uitgete zon. Je kan zeggen dat morgen naar zijn licht komt en dat men dat je gaat hem. Je wil recht gejogens. Ze zijn met dit skin je wil get. Ze zei die dan daar hier naar de test. In 1980 when he was skinny like he was. He toast and keep in mind that everybody. Gerit. Eoms. In Jod. Williams Coxens Norway. With Peter Williams. Nek gewoon man net ja juk. Zebet stop Jod. Wacht om uitgeet. Jo, en dan moet ik mensen en dan ik ieder. En dan dit wil hoger am tebes, bok tebet, en jo, nie gaat, hier, binder get now. It's the #1 well thought of thing that includes the house groups, but the law is written in there. When you go through, read it, me get a lot, when you want a lot, in it matters, go to Mulawilum, and toast an hour non get, but it needs to be reread and then rewritten because that includes different heap on there. You get the heap new one, but the yolk is built right in there. And that's one thing I like about it. My problem hat. She was forced to stab him in Gyeets. He was bestaan als ild. He was bestaan nur de wind voor de leg. Begon lor naas. Begon die turn left. Wat has elders. Maar je jeugd. Je eigen wel minst. Je gaat turn rijden. Ga je nu leien. Je gaat schiet iets goed geen goed is wat. Joos goed is joos neemt die urien. Liggen dit hier ergens neer. En daar is hoest. De mogen niet gaan. Neemt hem die gelendig is. Liggen dit lag hiep. Je liggen dit maar als kers. Wil de skrambies wil wat het mag turn north. Het boekt pas 60 gelilig. Die doet la mest het laai. Je wordt bestaan om was. Voor la hips, voor geluid, look jong, zo wil je hebben. Je nu bestaan om hips voor geluid, je komt staat voor de weg. Mijn tek goed wat. Het uitgo toch hulp. We dacht gemoord is. Amtelijk hips, schommel haar en doos. that Sundays for a lot of sun. Your dad boundaries from Sinos and Dopas. You get down and Gyeets and on Swedish. Will it eggs one? I'm gonna go to me jail that get yokla by the clown in Nula Yin or the Mendes. Me look a yok, get the yoklas. The Mendes get the yoklas. Me look a yok. The Gyeets by the Sagas. You get out and of the data heaps. The some augitors slot. I'll wet them. Nu je gaat uit voor het rip. In de bos. Ga je daar. Op zo'n. Op sens. Daar op zo'n laat je ook. Zo ooit. Wat je zwaar die. Het geeft. Je hebt zwaar die ooit. Het hoest. Hoe de ooit. Ze bouwen het zullen geven. Je hebt schade het niet. Mest het. Net de geven. Net een eind, maar met een past die ervan. Ja, zo. Hoe la wordt. Maybe this one, eh? Just pass it around and have a quick look. Should we let them see that night?
Okay.
We getting them in that, is it?
I don't think it's necessary.
Oh, okay. Gyeets. Are you going to explain to them this other thing you got? Not need that. What do we from the from Museum of Man of Canada, Totem Poles of the Gyeets in Upper Skeena, British Columbia. And then you got these new booklet they reproduced by Marcus Barbeau. I'm getting his next week out. Die Louis Marcus Barbeau is. Net is hem gelamd, Amsterdam. Net is hem gelamd. Because they interviewed different people and that's how they write it. And the person they interviewed said mine. That's what it's all. Mine, it's none of his business. So that's one of the things why the wife sort of didn't like the idea of dealing with Marcus in general. Because the people they interviewed said mine or ours and no specific ownership. Thank you, Neil Awesome, and we get and it's all as some Neil. Debbie Gyeets here, say I'm looking to the lip name them Gyeets. Ik niet uit de moeder zo'n een huisgroep now to Morgan. And you attending on this table and the date. I just want to see out of my curiosity, or maybe you guys can make comments if I'm right or wrong. When I let them leave it on the chair to open the floor. But this is out of my own curiosity. I made this paper like this. And you guys can sign it if you want, or you can throw it in the garbage. To me, it's very important. You get say, when no get the guilt of the West go a lot of that for the territorials. Say, when some get back to the Ramok. In the Hess, zo'n Rijn, en dan mocht hij time dus. Nee, Amsterdamse goedschap met griep, niet aardig laat, die heeft gewoon niet aardig gekocht. De man besser en soms
says this court case is addict, because the would have said one get the guilt. So this is why and I don't like the idea of him saying that we don't own nothing. The wolves goes in, and the wolves schoon gaat, he's laat voor de joksers. Je moet Gyeets, jullie en dood, jullie gedaan. Je en Gyeets, en als Gyeets ook zijn, genoeg te blijven. Je niet uit voor de joksers, als territorie, schoon gaat. Nu niet uit. En dan lijkt het, je get out, je wordt schoon, wordt, voor gelogie. Early, consistent, violet. Doch taped it like knitted in the air, the sun slim to morning. Knitted and zipped. Die dogs were wood. Nee, some girls had it. Hilt of all of six one knit. Ernie. The metal goes wild and wild. Tonnen die wilde. Die tonnen de men is wilde. Die hield voor de smarty. Die hield voor de willem. Net die sigion. Dus wilde tonnen. Nee, some alles niet wat ze me get. Good night, good night, time, sleep not. Jullie wil je het moment. En niet uitleggen, niet houden. Jullie go, de moet leggen met die. De hele goede schij voor de lam. Je hebt ons gegeven. Naast lelijk is het. Niet minst. Wil bezet ons. De la wens get, je goed heet lelijk het, min lelijk het. Je niet de moeilijk. Neem die België meisjes van de liggen de mola wilde, de niet en die met host. Die wees die scholen, nee, wees hem geget, but economic time, the small geton. Go bij
Well, the goals in this one. Sen get så man har en dum med 1923 when interviewed as Marius Barbaud, Charles Mark, Stormlaha, Charles Mark. How do we say it? I escaped and lakes the cemetery, Gyeets. Charles Mark, Stormlaha. The bestek niet uitlaat, nog oud in Gilbel, Jiggins bestek. Why interviewed this Barbaud net. When you read this, you have to consider that the names on here, you can tell Hanamoch, you can tell Schaamlacha, Wagala, Hagas. In here, Hagas and Wagala share the same hunting area. And they talked about what Vernon mentioned. The big knoll, just almost across Deep Creek Canyon, means Steakwood. means Lakewood. And that's primarily where the Wagala lands are. Roddy, not the last meeting, but the meeting before that, said to you people that Ray Jones told me we got no, Ray Jones, Squamish, got no land. We have no land in Kaziokla Valley. And you guys just listened. You guys didn't say anything. I've never said anything like that to Roddy. It's too bad he's not here, because he's the one that insisted. When Mary, going back to the court case and the witnesses, when the late Mary Johnson, the provincial lawyer, was really going after her. And she calmly said to them, when you're doing that, you're trying to cover up your own lies. And that's the way I think sometimes when Roddy says these things in public and keeps saying them. I'll just close with one fact that I'm aware of. I might be wrong. I've never seen or heard of Roddy packing out a moose on his territory. Thank you for your time.
So you can sign this and return it just for record that we keep on ourselves. Because I'd like to see exactly what you guys think. What do you think the horse from the last will allow to go? You big Wilton some deal at the table, governing table. You guys got to keep everybody straight and in line, dear Iogs. If a person is wrong, tell him. If he says the wrong word, you tell him. And that's the only way we'll get off the ground. We're always down here on the bottom, trying to breathe.
Can I take a picture of this for my own records?
Go ahead.
You're gonna have a copy here.
Oh yeah, we got one here. But it hasn't got the orange line on it.
Exhibit from,
Can I get one of those?